Hey there, everyone. My name is Adam, and today we're on with Beth Ann and Nick, and they own a bounce house company. I'm in New York. They're in New York. Actually, didn't look up where you were. But how far away from like Utica, Syracuse are you?
So we're in Dutchess County, so it's a few hours south
Okay.
of that. Um,
Probably about 2.5, 3 hours away.
yeah,
Okay. Well, anyways, how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
good.
All right. So our initial conversation. I forget how long have you guys been doing this?
So this has been like our first real year. We
Yeah.
kind of started a little bit the year before, but it was kind of like, like let's just do this. But
Right.
last spring and summer, it's been like our first year.
Cool. How'd it go this year?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal,
Great.
much busier than expected. We were totally caught off guard like as soon as spring hit, and we were
Yeah.
getting like 7,000 phone calls and emails. Um, and we were much busier than we thought we'd be.
Right. So how'd you get into this? Like,
So it's kind of crazy how it started. So I had owned a housekeeping business, and COVID hit, everything shut down. And my housekeeping business was basically like the people weren't here. They owned weekend estates, but then they had all flocked here. So they didn't want anybody in their home. So I'm like out of work completely. My kids are home. I'm losing my mind because I'm not used to this. Nick is still going. So, I really was trying to figure out something to do to keep my kids busy, and not make us all go crazy. So I was just searching on the internet on Marketplace for like things that would keep them busy outside. And I found this like really, really old school bounce house from a company in Long Island. And I was like, you know what? That's a really good deal. I really don't care what it looks like because it's only my kids using it. We went down, we purchased it. And I blew it up, and it literally was like 1980s. It was like pretty much an open front, animal looking thing. And like people, so like our friends kept saying like, hey, are you going to rent this out? And I was like, oh no, that's not the type of person I am. Like, you could just literally borrow it if you want to like slug like 400 pounds to your yard,
right.
by all means, but we don't know how to roll it. We don't know what we're doing. You could take it and use it. So um then I was talking to a friend that's in insurance, and they were like, that is a bad move. And I was like, well, why would it be a bad move to let somebody borrow something? And they were like, because if somebody's kid breaks their neck on your stuff, they're going to sue you. And I'm like, well, no, because I don't own a business.
Right.
And they're like, it doesn't matter. So I was like, all right, well, whatever, I'm not going to listen to you. So I ended up like, my kids were using it or whatever, but it was getting warmer. And then I was like, well, maybe we should get a commercial water slide. So same deal, went online. I found one, Long Island. A guy had bought it, got it from his friend or whatever. But it had to be purchased sight unseen. It was dirt cheap. The pictures he had from the previous person that owned the business, they looked phenomenal. So I was like, I'm just going to take a risk and buy it. What's the worst case scenario? I'm out $400. Well, whatever. So we went, we purchased it, we brought it home and blew it up. And the thing was like in brand new condition. It was,
Wow.
the big kahuna, the 19-foot big kahuna. So when I got that and blew it up and posted pictures, like people literally went wild, but then shared it thinking like we owned a bounce house company. But I was like, we don't. Like, this is just for my kids.
Right.
And I started doing research into insurance. Took us like maybe 2-3 months to find like a good insurance that seemed reasonable after like I hashed out the numbers, how many rentals we would need to make our money back. And we just went for it. And that was like the first year where we kind of did it slow because we didn't have that many.
Right.
And then this year we bought a ton more because we were
We
slammed.
started with 2, now we got 23.
Yeah.
2 to 23.
Yeah.
Did you
In a
buy
year.
them all new, or did you find deals?
We bought a couple used, and then we actually just purchased 8 of them brand new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's going crazy.
Do you still rent out that old school one?
Well, no, we ended up selling it to somebody.
We sold it to our local firehouse.
Oh yeah, the old one we never rented it out. Like I
Okay.
would be embarrassed to rent that out. Like didn't
There
even.
was so much stains and it was
Yeah,
gross.
yeah. We never rented that one out. The Big Kahuna water slide we did. That's like what kept us going. That, and we got a dance dome from an indoor place in Long Island again. And those two were like every day during the summer they were out.
Right. Yeah, I saw the picture of the dance dome. What's the deal with that? Is it something different, or is it just a inflatable bounce house, just branded as a dance dome?
It's an enclosed bounce house with LED lights and a disco light inside.
Oh,
and a
okay.
wireless speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right. All right. So that a lot of people start this way from like buying them for their kids and stuff, and then they're like, "Oh, I can make money." So that's a common story. That's cool. What else do you guys do? I know what you do. I already looked at the website, but go ahead and tell everyone watching what else you do.
So we obviously we do the bounce houses, water slides, concessions, tents. We have the foldable picnic tables, which did excellent last summer. We're currently purchasing like regular tables and chairs because we've had a few requests for that.
Right.
So this will be our, coming into this year, will be our first year with regular tables and chairs. I do soft play. We just bought a foam cannon, and I just bought a photo booth, like the drop and go photo thing, not like a full blown photo booth. And the Photo 360.
What is it? What is Photo 360?
So it's where you stand on, like, it's mostly used for like social media stuff. I think it's going to be like popular with like teenagers or people that are into like YouTube or whatever.
Right.
Not YouTube, TikTok.
Yeah.
You stand on a platform and it's got a camera that's on an arm and it goes around you like 360, and you can do different stuff with the video to music. We saw it at IAAPA.
Right.
And my kids went nuts over it. So I told them, I said, we're just going to buy it for the kids. Like, I have no interest in renting this thing out. But of course, anything we buy, we could rent.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, we could probably rent ice to an Eskimo at this point.
Right. Yeah, I was looking at your website. You also do movies too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think, we've rented it out a few times. It wasn't as popular as we hoped, but
Right.
we made our money back. I don't know if we're going to do it again this year. We kind of went back and forth on it, like between the time it takes to set it up and the amount of times it actually goes out. We're kind of going back and forth on if we really want to keep it on our website.
Right. Well, I always thought it would be a good pairing with like the foam daddy or foam party earlier in the day, then dinner, then movie, for the people staying over, or like something like Jelly Ball or North Wars earlier in the day and then movie at night.
Yeah, that probably is a good way to market it. We might not take it off right away. We might keep it until maybe we'll just keep it out. It's not hurting anything on our website. And if it doesn't go over great this season, then just take it off.
Right. I want to ask you about these chairs and couches. Because I always wondered this, like, all right, so you're renting a movie thing, but then they're just going to sit on like hard chairs or lay on the ground or whatever. But you don't really want to get into full blown like lounge furniture and plush couches because that's just like a truck full of stuff.
Yeah.
These are inflatable, right? Are they like any
Yeah.
good?
Don't do it.
Don't do those. Okay.
Especially on dirt, it's a nightmare.
So I have them. I have already bought 2 sets of them because the outside is like this, like a velvety feel. And they're fine when they're set up on a tarp and the people are willing to keep them on the tarp. But who's going to keep them on the tarp? They don't really care.
No one.
So then they put them in the dirt, then they spill all their stuff on them. It's fine to hose them down, but it's just like the dirt and stuff. They're a pain in the butt to clean. I'm like, it's just annoying. I'd rather blow up a bounce house and call it a day and make my money back quicker than this furniture.
Yeah, your price online was $10 for one of them. Like, yeah, that's not worth it.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I guess it's like kind of like a learning process. In my head, I was like, this is a great idea because it was the same thing. I was like, I want them to have something to sit on. Like, I'm trying to think from like, like a parent point of view, like
Right.
it's a great idea. And people that did rent the movie thing, they did rent the furniture. So it
Mhm.
did work out great. It's just harder on our end, and it's a pain in the butt to have to take the time to clean those because honestly, it takes longer to clean that than it does to clean and sanitize a bounce house, and you don't make
Yeah.
nearly as much money.
Right.
So, to me, it's annoying. If I were to buy other, like I've looked into other furniture where it's got like neon lights in the furniture and stuff, but they're fully plastic.
Mm.
I'd probably get that. I don't know. Those things seem like they look cool. They're
They're
annoying.
not. Yeah.
They're not-
Right. Yeah, I understand. They're not efficient for you. It's not.
No,
It's
No.
it takes
not
a
worth
lot
your
longer
time.
to deflate and everything. It just takes too much time.
Yeah. So you mentioned learning. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, people have their dogs on them, and it's just like, oh my
Right.
god, this is
No,
terrible.
that's fine. What if they were like completely smooth, just like a smooth, like a bounce house or whatever? Would that be better than like stuff doesn't get on them?
I think it probably would be.
Mm.
And then if people are willing to just maybe throw one of their own blankets over it, because then I was like, what if it's warm? Then their body's going to stick to the vinyl. And
Right.
I think that's the concept of putting that, that velvety feel on the outside. But obviously, the manufacturer of these probably didn't have the idea of somebody's going to rent these out.
Right.
So, I don't know what would be the best way to do it. I mean, people
Yeah.
like them, but it's just not good for us.
From what I see, everyone else doing it, it's not even like a consideration. It's just like you have your own, either chairs you rented from us or you got blankets and pillows and stuff inside.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's easier. You mentioned learning curve, and these couches and chairs are a learning curve. This is only your first real year. This is kind of a broad question, but what else has been a learning curve? What's been difficult in your first year that you just didn't know?
Dealing with customers.
Yeah.
Well, he's never really had to deal. It's been harder for him, and a couple times I've had to say, "Be quiet. Just be quiet." The customer's always right, and he's like, "But they're wrong." And so that's been harder for him. For me, it's easier. So I do most of the customer service,
Right.
and it's just because that's what I've always dealt with. What else?
Wait, before you go on, has anyone asked you when you're on site, Nick, like, oh, you don't bring the water, or oh, I thought you had your own power, or they get mad?
Yeah. Yeah, they asked me, is there a water pump? Do we have to keep constant water going through
Right.
them? Like, you can buy a water pump if you want to, but I don't supply that.
Right.
Yeah, or they've asked if they're like, so when it's blown up, can we just turn the
blowers off.
blower off? I'm like, no. Like,
No.
and they were like, but you're gonna make our electric go up. I'm like, we're not gonna make your electric go up. You're gonna make your electric go up because you wanted the bounce house. Like, like
Right.
what do you? It's silly questions. I mean, I try to look at it from a customer's point of view, but some of the questions I'm like, even if I was the customer, I wouldn't ask this dumb question. Like, they're like, your whole bounce house is leaking. There's air coming out from all over. I'm like, listen, would you like the thing to blow up on your children? Like,
Right.
it's just like common sense, sort of. But I'm like, I just have to be nice.
It's basically like almost every time you go out, you have to come back and add something to a description or add something to the contract because there's no propensity for how ignorant people are.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like-
we had somebody go in. We had bought a brand new bounce house, and they went in with, it looked like, I mean, they claim it wasn't those round confetti things. That's what I say it looked like. It honestly looked like their 3-year-old went in with those dab markers because it even looked darker than the confetti. So I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. He scrubbed, couldn't get it out, sent them a picture, and it was super dark. Like, it was not even anything you could cover up.
Right.
And the husband was like, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't from us. I'm like, well, you were the first person we rented to. So listen, I told you to get the damage waiver. You didn't want it. And he's like, that's regular wear and tear. I'm like, that's not wear and tear. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. And he's just like, well, you didn't provide an attendant or babysitter. So what were we supposed to do? I'm like, So did you do it? You didn't do it? And his wife said that their kid did do it because they weren't watching their kid. But the husband was like, we didn't. It was wear and tear. It's like those little things. And I'm just like, I really have to be nice. But like, it's like sometimes you want to be like, why?
Yeah.
So that's
People are
like
dumb.
kind of a learning
Yeah.
curve to just, you know, be
Well,
like,
you
some
c-
people are just stupid.
Yeah, you can't leave us hanging. So what was the resolution of that particular
Uh,
one?
I charged them a $75 cleaning fee just because of the crap load of stuff I had to buy. Eventually we let our kids jump on it a billion times and wear it off. I think there's
Mm.
still like some slight staining on it, but nothing
Can't really
nothing
noticeable,
crazy.
yeah.
But at first it really like it I was like, it was literally brand new, and now it looks like it's like a year and a half old. That kind of burned me, and I think it was kind of you know, I had to learn not everybody's going to treat, it's not their equipment. So they're
No.
not going to care about it. Like they're renting it, they paid for it, and it's going back. They don't really care about it. So I had to learn nobody's going to treat my stuff like I'm going to treat it because they don't care about it. So I mean, we both had to learn that.
Mhm.
He's
Right.
like,
And
tell
that,
them they bought it. Tell them they bought it. We'll bring
Right.
it back to them. I'm like, yeah, but they also lived 2.5 hours away. Like they lived
Oh,
in
really?
Massachusetts. They paid for the delivery. They didn't care. And he's like, well, they should just buy the bounce house, you know. But we kind of learned to like stress, please don't put paint,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff in the bounce house. And we've only
Right.
had that happen one other time,
Yeah.
and it was from a friend.
Mm. Yeah,
So-
friends can be worse sometimes, you know, like
Yeah.
they-
Yeah,
That's why we don't rent them out to friends anymore.
yeah, we try
Right.
not
That's a good idea.
We tell them to go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Right. So I did cut you off earlier. You were talking about other like lessons you learned along the way.
to. Definitely, we learned to get an electric dolly and not kill ourselves. You know,
Yes.
work smarter, not harder. And we did. I mean, we had to work for that electric dolly because we did it at the beginning of the season because we had gotten that green dolly from Tractor Supply, which honestly people bash all the time. We still have it. We still love it. We changed the axle on it and added more wheels.
I
But
added the outer wheels to it so it balances off a little bit more.
Right.
And it works beautifully.
yeah, I mean, we've moved a 700-pound slide with it. I've moved a 500-pound slide myself. So, I mean, it works if you just invest $20 in the hand truck, and you know, it's fine. But he did a lot of DoorDash to pay for an electric dolly. So, we learned to invest our money smarter in the essentials, not just like, you know, like let's buy like 50 billion bounce houses, because you know, we kind of bought like all the fun stuff at first, but we could have invested our money a little bit better. So I think like towards the end of like last summer, we kind of learned like where money needed to be invested more. And I think we also learned like the first season where we didn't do that great, and then well, we did good, but we weren't like really totally invested in it. And then the beginning of last year, we didn't have an online booking site. I
Right.
did everything pencil and paper. That's just the type of person I am. I was driving myself crazy,
Right.
but it's just how I've always ran my business that way, and I've been in business for like 18 years. So my cleaning business. So that's what worked for me. But when we did the online booking, I think that's honestly one of the reasons we took off so quick.
Right.
Because it was easy for people. So I think we should have probably invested in that sooner. Like I
Right.
think that's a mistake people make, and because they're like, well, that's you know, $100-$150 or whatever, depending on whatever site you go to. They don't want to spend it because they're on a budget, but I think they don't realize literally within a day I couldn't even believe the bookings coming in, and some people would call, you know, to make sure we're a newer business, to make sure it was
and
legit,
everything.
but like the bookings were crazy.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of, like you said, most people don't want to do it because pen and paper or some sort of Excel or calendar program is cheaper. That's free. Well, it makes it easier. Also on you to free up your time to do other things. Like you could market or be out on the road and not have to be like, hey, 1 second, you go set that bounce house. I got to take this phone call. It just like frees up time too. And so what did you end up going with?
We went with ERS.
Right. And so are a lot of the majority of your bookings, are they just through the website? Like you barely have to do anything?
Most of them are like, we'll have people like, we had Event Hawk. A lot of the stuff a lot of stuff came through Event Hawk. And then people were getting a little bit lazy. They still wanted me to book for them. I did, of course. And he was the one that he said, just tell them to go do it themselves. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
but this is the thing. I don't want to say that to them because I don't want them to call somebody else and then have somebody else just do it for them. Like, I was like, it's going to take me 5 minutes.
Right.
So, I mean, I still did have to do a lot of legwork. But it wasn't as hard because I was literally just click, type in a few things and it was done, or copy and paste or whatever.
Yeah.
And with doing it pencil and paper, I had to make sure nothing was double booked.
Right.
Look at a calendar. I put nothing in a computer. Even like my financial stuff, literally in a binder. I handed it to my accountant and she was like, "Are you serious?" I'm
Right.
like, "Oh, I'm serious." Here's every receipt. I've written everything down. And she's just like, "Wow, this is like something I would expect to get from somebody that's like 95 years old."
Also, the program, like as you go on in the years, you'll be able to look at the reports, I think, and see like, this unit just doesn't do anything for us. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
And this one does so much. Let's buy a second one of that.
Yeah, we've started to look at stuff like that for this year. We've looked at a few, like even one of our oldest units where I'm like, oh, I don't even like the way this thing, I mean, it's the best renter. And I feel like, I'm like, I think it's ugly, but it's like the best renter and one that I felt was going to do superb. And it didn't do that great. So, now we know, I was like, even though people love this ugly one.
She wanted it. Rented out once.
And I thought it would do great. So we're going to get rid of that one. And I'm like, I guess we'll still keep our ugly one,
Right.
because people love it.
Right. So how do you guys handle storage and delivery? Like, is warehouse, garage? Do you have trucks, box trucks?
So we just moved into a warehouse. November.
Yeah, December 1st.
December 1st. We were storing it in our shed. We we first started storing it in our trailer. Like we had I don't even know.
7 by 14 foot enclosed trailer.
Right. So everything just stayed in there.
Yeah. And then we had a shed and we outgrew the shed. And then I bought a shipping container, 40-foot shipping container. And then time it's filled up again.
Right.
Yeah,
then I was like, we got to purchase a warehouse or do something.
Yeah, so we just we're renting it. It's a brand new warehouse. Like warehouses are kind of hard to come by around us. Like we just couldn't find anything that was in our area where we weren't going to have to drive, a distance that was, semi-decent looking. I'm like a little bit particular. Like I know it probably doesn't matter to like it didn't matter to him. I'm like, it has to be clean, it has to have a clean bathroom, blah 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 blah. And he's like, it's a warehouse like for storing inflatables. And I'm like,
right.
I know, like we're on different levels with that, but we finally found one that was brand new. The guy was in the middle of building them. Super affordable, 15 minutes from our house. So we were like, let's just do it. So we did. And we're still stuck with that ugly shipping container in our yard. And I think I don't know how people work out of a shipping container. I just don't know how they do it. It just seems like there's not enough room to move around if you have them like along both walls, the back wall. Like I was just like, this is crazy. How do people even do this? I don't know.
I mean, you do it because you have to for a little while, I guess.
Yeah.
You make it work until you can afford the warehouse. How do you guys deliver? Is it pickup trucks and trailers?
I have a Yukon Denali with an enclosed trailer right now.
Okay.
Hopefully spring I'll get a truck and another trailer.
Right. So you said you got 23 plus you got all these other things too. How many people are helping you? Or is it just all you?
All me.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh yeah. And I have a full-time job too.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We had a couple people, they were younger. They weren't serious about it. He thinks I'm a little bit difficult to work for, and I probably am.
No comment.
But I honestly, like, I feel like I was just like, you know what, we're not perfect, we're still learning, but we went from like here to like here in a year.
Right.
Still learning, and I think it's about discipline and making sure the people we work for are, you can't have somebody, for instance, we had a kid, he was great, nice kid, but he just didn't want to listen. No matter what we said, we're like, don't wear slides. Please don't wear slides. You're going to get hurt. You can wear Crocs, sneakers, don't wear slides.
What's a
Sure
slide?
enough, like
It's like flip-flops.
like a flip
Okay.
flop where your foot
Gotcha.
slides in. Sure enough, foot completely cut open, blood all over the customer's yard, and he's standing there, and I'm like, oh my god, like
Wow.
this is not good, like I was like, I asked you not to wear slides because you're gonna get hurt. And now I feel bad you're hurt, but I also have to just tell you to just go take care of yourself in the car because you didn't listen. Like, so that's what we've been finding with the younger kids. We were
And they're
hired.
glued to their phones
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had
constantly.
and then they wondered, they're like, well, we after 2 or 3 weeks, we just thought maybe they would catch on to like, hey, it's almost the same thing every time with
Yeah,
setting up a bounce house, and they still wanted direction on what to do, and we kind of just wanted to go.
Right.
So we did find one guy. He's a police officer, and he totally motivated right from the get-go. And we knew him personally, so it's not like I had to, build trust in him.
Right.
And it worked out great. So we're hoping he's sick of being a police officer. Honestly, he said he had a better time setting up bounce houses.
Right.
So we're hoping he comes back this year and we can just get another trailer and truck, and he can just take a whole route himself.
Right. The phone thing is like when we're driving from place to place, like, yeah, get on the phone, text your girlfriend, whatever. But I make them keep it in the truck when we're out on the job site.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. See, I wouldn't mind that, if we're driving, like, what are they going to do? I don't care if you're on the phone. Like, you can't,
Right.
I'm not going to say you can't be on your phone. I mean, I'm on my phone if he's driving.
There was one particular kid, he was on the phone constantly, and I would set it all up, and I'm like, dude, you didn't do anything on the setup. What are you doing?
Right.
I said, I'm not paying you to sit here and watch me do all the work. I should be standing here watching you do all the work.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
That was the last day of him working.
Wait, so if it's just you guys doing it, has there ever been a weekend where you've had all 23 out, all your concessions, everything out?
We've had 2 weekends where everything went out.
Yeah.
I would drop them off on Friday night.
Friday,
I would
Saturday.
actually leave work early.
Right.
And just start dropping them off for Friday. And then drop them off Saturday morning too.
Right.
And then just let them have it the next day. I'm like, just take it for the next day.
Because you have so many, you're probably not like flipping it going out. It's going out Friday, it's going out Saturday, it's going out Sunday. I imagine that would kill you with a normal like job.
A few times it has, and we were up cleaning them during the week till 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So it was difficult.
No, it's okay.
And we were drained. That's why this year, I think, like, we were discussing it earlier. We're like, we have to come up with a plan for hiring employees where we could just give them keys to the warehouse, even if they want to work full time. Like, I'll give you full time work. I mean,
Right.
as long as you're a good employee that we can trust and we know you're going to work Saturday and Sunday, I don't mind paying you full time.
Right.
Like, it's last year we were burned out.
Yeah, it takes a few years of getting burned out before you're like, okay, I'm done with this. Someone do this job for me.
Yeah.
Someone do that job for me. I'm a little more hands off, and it takes time, and it takes, like I said, a few years of getting burned out when you're just like, okay, time to change something.
That's what I'm hoping I'll do this year.
Yeah.
Have a couple of workers just go out and do it.
Right.
Yeah, see, he has more. I'm the type that I like to be there. I like to make sure everything's done exactly the way it is. So that's where I have to really work this year to find the people I can really trust to, like, almost manage it like I would.
Right.
And I think that's coming from a different industry where that's sort of what I had to do. So
Right.
I have to kind of reset myself, I think.
Well, I had the issue too. Because for people watching, I own a tent company. So I wanted to be on every job. So it was just one crew, me and two people. And then eventually just got too much, me taking phone calls while they're working, or just too many requests for jobs. So it's like, all right, we're adding two crews. Now half the things that happen are just never, I'm not going to know about them. And then because I did that, then I was like making so much more money. And I was like, wow, I wish I did this earlier. Like,
Mhm.
I just had to give up a little bit of control. And now I barely run my company. Someone else in the office runs it. And I'm in a truck and we got another truck that goes out. And it's just like life is just so much easier than when I thought I was making a lot of money by doing it all by myself. Like once you let go, then you can like grow kind of exponentially. But letting
Yeah.
go is hard.
Yeah.
It is. It definitely is.
It is. I have to learn how to do that. But like I said, it's a learning, you know, you just
Yeah.
gotta,
It's
There
like
was-
a nerve thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a guy who told me like if your first let go is hard, and I had done the first one of having a second crew. He goes, but the next one is easier, and the next one's easier until the point where you're just like, whatever, do that, and it just gets easier.
yeah.
Mhm.
You should say, I mean, the first time he went, a couple times he went out by himself. I'm like texting him, can you FaceTime me? Can you FaceTime me? He's
Yeah.
like, I'm throwing my phone out the window. Everything is fine. Believe me.
Right.
I'm like, I know. I was like, I won't go as far as texting the customer because then they're going to think we're totally like, you have no clue what you're doing. So I won't do that. But I was like, just please double check. And he's like, literally, I don't know how far you want me to drive these stakes into the ground. Like, you know,
Right.
but I mean, everything is fine. I think if, you know, we just have to make sure we find a good crew of people, which I mean, they're out there. I just think we have to learn how to, I guess, you know, maybe Indeed, helpwanted.com. I
It's
think
hard.
that, you know, we just have to find good people to help work. And I've learned not to go through family members, friends, because then it's hard to let them go because, you know, they're friends with your family member. Like it's
Right.
hard to mix business with that sort of thing.
Right. Well, how old are your kids?
Well, our son is 16, and then we have a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old, but I also have a 18-year-old nephew. So
Right.
we were using some of his friends, and they're all great kids, but it's hard, you know,
Yeah.
they're kids
That's
at the end of the day.
right. That's where I got my best things. Like I had friends, younger brothers, and then those younger brothers had friends, and then those people had friends. That's all been my best ones. The ones I got from various other places, they've been drunks, they've been lazy, they've
Yeah.
not had vehicles. But
Oh yeah, we've
Uh,
gotten a few of those.
yeah.
Can you pick us up? But we've had my nephew and his friends, my son, my nephew's girlfriend and her family. They've helped us out at events, and it's all worked out really well. Like we've done several pay to play events, and I know people
Right.
say shy away from those. Like they were gold mines for us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
literal gold mines. We said, well, just take a chance. If we don't make anything, whatever, we don't really care. And everyone we've done, I could not believe how much money we made in like 3 hours.
more than just renting it out would be.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like probably 5 times the amount. But
Yeah,
they
it was
were
phenomenal.
pretty big events, and I think a lot of people were coming out because, you know, people were locked up from COVID and now they have these events. So I don't know how it will be, you know, upcoming seasons, you know, once COVID
Right.
is kind of past us. But
You'll have to keep
So
track
far.
of that because I'd be interested to talk to you about that at the end of next year if you can kind of mentally keep track. Like, so these kind of events made us a lot of money pay to play, but these kind with these the various things like the attendance numbers or the type of event, and then that'll also hopefully inform you and maybe other people like some sort of system to pick for pay to play.
Mhm.
yeah.
I think a lot of people get burned on pay to play because they did it for their church, and it's just like, 50 people showed up and 20 went on. Like it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, for ours it worked out.
We
We
did
had,
like a Greek festival, and it was
Right.
phenomenal.
yeah, and we did
And
a
we did a
town,
street fair.
and we did a holiday fair.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, we haven't done we've done a couple with schools so far, but we've had a lot of schools reach out to us this year. Like we were going to get ready to write flyers and stuff and send them out to schools, but we've had a lot of schools reach out to us this year. But we also do a lot of like donating. I know people say shy away from that as well. It doesn't work for their business, but that's really just like kind of just like who I've always been as a person.
Right.
But we end up getting a ton of customers even off from the stuff we've donated, like just from the people that went to the donation event or whatever, have always asked for our card, and then we always get a ton of customers.
Do you put a sign
It's
up too, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've always put a sign up, but they mostly said they've just heard from whoever was running the event. They just asked who donated this to you. So that's worked out for us. And then we recently were in the process of getting registered as a not-for-profit. We're starting a not-for-profit, and we're actually working with Vanessa Brand. It's called the Unbirthday.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing that. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna and I honestly, it just kind of hit me that like we had done a big toy drive for a children's home in Poughkeepsie this year. And it's a shelter for kids, that for whatever reason they're in this shelter, various reasons. The toy drive was a lot bigger than I expected it to be. Like we couldn't even fit the stuff in our vehicles, the stuff we collected. And it just kind of hit me. I'm like, this is kind of terrible. Like, I mean, I know our son is special needs, and he lived residential for a little bit. And honestly, this business kind of helped us to get him home because we got this equipment and stuff he needed at home, as far as therapy animals and stuff. And I'm like, but for their birthday parties, I mean, which are great. They think these birthday parties are great. They get cupcakes, pizza, and then they go on with their day. But some of these kids, they live there 24/7. Like our son, we could bring him home on weekends and stuff, but some of these kids, they don't go home.
Right.
So I'm like, they've never experienced a party. Like these organizations, they don't have the funds to like bounce houses, water slides. I mean, some of them do, but a lot of them don't. So I'm like, if we could, we personally will donate. I don't know about other businesses, but we'll do it. Vanessa was talking to me about it, and she's like, I kind of want to join in. I'm in a totally different state, but we could kind of do this together. And it's honestly taken off here very quickly before I can even be registered. Like I said, I'm in the process of being registered. I'm not collecting any money from anybody. Like I don't even want to do that part. We're just donating our services, our equipment to these different places, whether it's a homeless shelter, school for special needs like our son was in, places that basically hold kids, residential or day students, if autism, whatever. And we've had a ton of places reach out. Even I've recently had somebody reach out just for me to bring my son's therapy ponies to them. I'm like, I don't rent them out. Like I was like, I'll bring them to your school so you guys could see them. And they're like, oh yeah, that's all we want you to do. And I'm like, well, can I just bring a bounce house too? And they're like, really? I said, yeah, for free, just for fun. And they were like, really? And I'm like, yeah, because this is just what we do. It's fun.
Nice. Probably right now you don't have somewhere where people can go donate, but update me and anyone who's watching. It's going to be in the description. It's not currently there, but it will be as soon as they let me know, and I'll put that link in the description so they can go donate to it as well.
Yeah, we don't have it. Just I'm waiting till I totally am registered with New York State. My attorney's in the process of getting that all straightened out.
Right. So all you future people watching, look in the description, and if it's there, then it's up. If it's not, then it's just not there yet.
Yep. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, guys, thank you for being on. You're both very well spoken, and it was an easy interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.